Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with more Fiendsmith Azamina Snake Eye. There are some things that I've been wanting to try in this build ever since I did a little bit of research. So this is something that I talked about with both YouTube members and patrons on an exclusive video that went on both platforms. Which, as an aside, if you're interested in supporting the channel, getting exclusive and or early content, as well as getting your name in the credits at the end of every video, I encourage you to either go to patreon.com/hexlex, or you can click the join button next to the subscribe button below in order to join here on YouTube as a member. But plugging aside, in that exclusive video, we were going through a lot of the highest win rate decks on Ranked Ladder from this past season, and one common trend I noticed among them, this was true in Snake Eye, in White Forest, and in Yubel, that some of the highest win rate decks were playing a small Kashtira package, which to me seems a little bit counterintuitive, mostly because of the prevalence of Droll and Lockbird in this meta. My thought process was, well, if you're playing a deck that loses to Droll, and you start your turn by summoning, you know, Unicorn and going for Birth, or activating Ratesoth and going for Unicorn or Fenrir, don't you just lose to Droll even harder? And the answer is actually no. Like, if you were playing one of those decks, Yubel, White Forest, Snake Eye, whatever, and you had a hand that lost to Yubel, to Droll, well, you're going to lose to Droll either way, right? But what the Kashtira package does offer for all of these decks that are playing Fiendsmith in particular is not only, again, the extra bodies of these Kashtira monsters, which are relevant in terms of those stats and effects, but also the ability to, you know, open Unicorn, Lurie, and actually have that be a full combo. Or even if you go, like, start with Unicorn, your plays get disrupted somewhere along the line, and then you can still normal summon Lurie, right? Right? Maybe something like that? I don't know. There's, I can see a lot of opportunities where the Kashtira cards could be pretty good. So I'm changing my tune a little bit on that. I want to at least test them out and see just how well they end up performing. I think that this is something that's really valuable to have, is the ability to, like, change one's mind. And that might seem like a very duh statement, but there are a lot of players out there who tend to get very stuck in their ways about what they think is good and what they think is bad. I mean, that's just a very human thing in general, right? That the idea of, if you have an opinion, you're like, this is my stance and I need to stand by it, and if I change my mind, I'm just being wishy-washy. But it's like, no, you should be open to changing your mind about things. And yeah, when it comes to, again, this Kashtira package, I am definitely open to changing my mind about that. I did go a little over 40 cards to accommodate it, up to 42. You could, in theory, cut the Drolls or something and just go down to 40. And that I definitely don't think would be bad. You could also, of course, just simply not play the Kashtira monsters. It would give you more room for hand traps, and also stuff like, well, these are also hand traps, the Bestial monsters, which are also, alongside Droll and Lockbird, quite good in this meta. You could honestly make an argument that the Bestials are even better than Droll in this meta. Because while Droll really does hurt a lot of the Fiendsmith and or Azamina decks, a lot of them do also have lines where you can just kind of play around it. Like, I've had games playing against, you know, Fiendsmith, Azamina, Snake Eye, where I Droll them, but then I still need more hand traps to actually stop their follow-up plays after the Droll. You can still do stuff like your Snake Eye secondary effects summon from deck. Diabellstar can still set a spell trap card from deck. You can still, of course, summon stuff from deck off things like OSS. So there are definitely ways the deck has to play through Droll. It's not a be-all, end-all, instant game ender, right? But yeah, did I make any changes to the extra? Oh yeah, I put in Hita to try that out instead of Ambluale. I didn't really notice, I didn't really have any games in particular where I had like a lot of clean turn one combo lines, so I personally didn't notice a lot of a difference. I understand where people are coming from with Hita over Ambluale. I think it's close. I think you could really argue either way. That's the thing about especially the extra deck for Fiendsmith, Azamina, Snake Eye, and as a result of how your extra deck has built your combo lines as well. There are so many slight variations that are like each they each have their own pros and cons, right? But yeah, the various end boards that you can get each require you to jump through different hoops in order to get to them. And it's debatable which one is the best. But yeah, I think between Heathen and Ambler Whale, it's close. I don't think there's too much of a difference there. Do I have anything else to say about this build? Not especially. So why don't we just go ahead and break it down card by card, and then we'll get into these games. We're on 1 Fabled Lurie, 2 Droll Lockbird, 1 Snake Eye Ash, 1 Snake Eye Oak, 1 Snake Eyes Poplar, 2 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Molcharmy Fualos, 2 Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 Kashtira Fenrir, 2 Kashtira Unicorn, 3 Diabellstar the Black Witch, 1 Snake Eyes Flambird Dragon, 1 Snake Eyes Diabellstar, 2 Bonfire, 1 Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, 1 Fiendsmith's Tract, 1 The Hallowed Azamina, 1 Pressured Planet Wraitsoth, 1 Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, 1 Kashtira Birth, 3 Deception of the Snake Eye, 2 of Sinful Spoils rather, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 1 Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, and finally 3 Infinite Impermanence. And there is our 42 card main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Fiendsmith's Lacrima, 1 Azamina Ilia Sylvia, 1 Azamina Mu Ricielago, 1 Fiendsmith's Desiree, 1 Beatrice Lady of the Eternal, 1 DDD Wave High King Caesar. We got 1 Linkribo, 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem, 1 Hita the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 IP Masquerado, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven, 1 Fiendsmith Sequence, 1 Promethean Princess, Bestower of Flames, and finally 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. There's our list. Let's look at this gameplay. Okay, for this game, we're going to start with a going second mirror match. So our opponent is also on Fiendsmith Azamina Snake Eye, and we are losing the coin flip here. Now, as you can see, we only opened with 1 Imperm, but the rest of our hand actually looks really good. And I think that this deck plays going second a lot better than you might think, especially even into the mirror match here. Our opponent's going to start with Bonfire for Poplar. Poplar F is going to add them the Divine Temple. So they definitely have something else in their hand, otherwise they would have gone for OSS right there. They might already have OSS, it could be Diabellstar, it could be Deception, maybe. That would be a little wild if they led with, or didn't lead with that rather, but Divine Temple for Snake Eye Diabellstar, and sure enough, Diabellstar the Black Witch does come down from hand, sending the Poplar in the spell trap, and then setting Deception. Deception activating here, tributing off the Diabellstar. I think, well, I guess it depends on what the rest of their hand looks like. I think I would have tried to have led with Diabellstar and then Bonfired if that didn't work, but I can understand doing it either way, really. Okay, so here is where I'm going to use my Imperm. You might have been wondering this whole time, when was I going to use it? So, I didn't use it against Poplar, because I wanted to see if they added OSS. If they had added OSS, I could have just used Imperm against Snake Eye Ash. I did not use it against Diabellstar. Once again, I wanted to see if they would set and then subsequently activate OSS, so I could then just use it against Snake Eye Ash. Here, I know that Mu Ricielago is definitely going to end up going for the OSS. So if I Imperm here, I cut them off from all access to Original Sinful Spoils, which hopefully cuts them off from their Snake Eye engine. However, that's actually not going to be enough to do it, because they can still definitely just go into Moon of Closed Heaven, and then summon back Snake Eye's Diabellstar for the extra material needed, making Beatrice, dumping Snake Eye Ash, and then linking into Promethean Princess. And sure enough, they are going to go into the Moon of the Closed Heaven here. So that's how my opponent could get to full Snake Eye line, even through my Imperm there. But I did also want to show off the optimal timing for Imperm against a board, if that's the only disruption you have. Now here they're using the Magnum Hut from their hand, which was a little bit surprising to me. I would have thought that they would have used the Spell Trap Zone Snake Eye Diabellstar, because they have Poplar in their graveyard, don't they? They should. They do, yeah. So, yeah, they should be able to just do that. They should have had to summon Magnum Hut there, but that's one less hand trap I have to worry about. Alright, so here's Fiendsmith's Lacrima. Yep, Lacrima F to bring back the Engraver. And now they go into Beatrice, right? Well, no. My opponent might just be new to the deck here. They went for IP Masquerade instead, and I remember being, like, blinking and being like, huh? That's not what you're supposed to do here. But, okay, we take those. Okay, so then they're going to make Promethean Princess. which is fine. That only brings back Snake Eyes Diabell Star. And then they go into Amblewhale. And then set and pass. So, yeah, my opponent did ultimately end up misplaying. I don't blame them, especially if they're new to the deck and or didn't look at a combo guide. There's some aspects of this deck that might not be the most intuitive. I always assume that is the case, that this person is new to the deck. I'd rather that than just assume somebody's dumb, because there's no value in just assuming somebody's dumb. Like, what purpose does that serve you, right? So, but yeah, as I pointed out, they could have, even without using the Magnum Hut, they could have just gone into sequence for Beatrice, dump Snake Eye Ash, into Prom Princess, bring back Ash, Ash for Oak, and then, I mean, from there, it just would have been a matter of making the plays, right? But, anyway. They do still have a Bestial Monster, because Magnum Hut will add Druid Swarm. And then they set Deception. So, going into our turn, drawing Kashtira Unicorn is a perfect draw here. And they actually just might be on Yellow Button Turbo, might not know how to use their disruptions here, because they do use the Promethean Princess right away on the Kashtira Unicorn. That is an aspect of the Kashtira package that I think is quite good in decks like this, and again, you know, other Fiendsmith decks as well, is that it also is very good at baiting out Disruption, much like the Fiendsmith engine. So, the other thing about my opponent using Promethean Princess here is that it is a massive misplay for multiple reasons. They're no longer able to go IP into SP because they are locked into fires, nor can they summon this Druid Swarm that they added because they're locked into fire. So I was going to have to play around Bestials here, but now I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm actually going to lead with Bonfire for Poplar here because I don't have a monster to tribute for Deception, and I want to use Wanted with, what's it called? The Hallowed Azamina, so... But yeah, that's why I didn't call by the Promethean Princess when my opponent went to summon it. I saw that and I thought about it. Because my first thought was like, oh yeah, I can call by the Promethean Princess here. But then I thought about it for like 5 seconds and I was like, wait, no, you can absolutely summon your Promethean Princess here. That is 100% okay with me. That is absolutely fine with me. You are more than welcome to do that. Absolutely more than welcome. Alright, so from here I'm going to use Temple, placing the Diabell Star. I didn't add OSS here because I can get to that through Wanted. Now we go Hallowed Azamina, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Wanted. This is again why I saved the Wanted for this point, because now I can simply add my Diabell Star, and then I'll activate Hallowed Azamina. I'm going for Murcielago here because I was pretty convinced one of those face down cards had to be Imperm, and I really wanted to bait it, but they either didn't have it or they're not taking the bait. It's possible they're simply not taking the bait because it actually doesn't matter if they have Imperm in this scenario, because I can get to OSS either way through the Diabell Star, and they should know that because I already activated Wanted to add Diabell Star, but I think my opponent's still new enough to the deck they might not know that necessarily, but I will also note that at this point when I went to activate the Hallowed Azamina effect, putting back Murcielago from my graveyard, there was a long pause for my opponent. I think they were trying to activate their Bestial effect. That's also why I went into IP Masquerena here and put back Murcielago from the graveyard. Again, I know they have a Bestial, but my opponent also went and Firelocked themselves, so it's completely fine. And yeah, they're just going to concede here anyway. As they realize I'm about to go into Ilia Sylvia, and then now I can play around whatever back row they may have, which I'm pretty convinced one of those back row was an Imperm. They simply never got really a good chance to use. But yeah, that will do it for this first game. We still have a couple more to check out though. Let's go into the next one. Our next opponent is on Millennium Azamina White Forest, which I have not seen Millennium with White Forest yet personally, so this is a new one to me. We are going to get to take the first turn, however, as you can see from our hand, and this is kind of one of the drawbacks of playing 42 cards / the cash engine, the hand's not great. If it were one of our other 4 Kashtira cards instead of Birth, we'd be fine and could go into full combo here. But you'll notice I'm making plays with the Lurie anyway, and it is exactly to bait out something like Ash Blossom or Fuelos or Maxi. In a scenario like this, I do like doing that. just to not have to play through the hand traps later. I also said the birth is a bluff. I was a little bit, I guess, emboldened by the fact that I baited Ash Blossom. But in hindsight, I don't think I should have set birth here, because it stops me from being able to use Fuelos or Imperm. So that, I think, was a massive misplay on my part. But I do like that our opponent no longer has an Ash Blossom in hand, because as soon as they go to summon one of their Millennium monsters, I am going to maxi them. And now they no longer have an Ash Blossom to use against me. Alright, so they're summoning the Golem that guardians the Millennium items, or I think that's what it's called. Anyway, they're just going for it. They're summoning their Sengenjin that wakes from a Millennium as well. We've got Engravers. We got plays going into our next turn. We just gotta make it there. Okay, they're going for Moon of the Closed Heaven, and here they're gonna summon the Fiendsmith's Requiem. Now, when they go to activate the effect, you might think, surely this is where I use my Ash Blossom, but I'm actually not going to. Because this combo line that they've done only gets them Engraver. They have to either commit to their normal summon or keep special summoning and give me draws in order to actually be able to go into sequence. Furthermore, I'm pretty convinced I can probably just use Ash Blossom later on in the combo line and successfully stop them. So sure enough, they normal summon Fuelos, and then they link into the sequence. And I'm like, even if they just go into, like, Desiree or High Caesar, that's fine. I have a million cards against that. Like, we're definitely very favored here. So there's Lacrima. Lacrima effect, bring back Engraver. And I was a little surprised when they actually did end up overlaying into Beatrice. Now, having a look at their list, I can see that they Beatrice dump a Stellar, and then link into Sprite Elf, summon a Stellar, and then that's how they go into their White Forest line. But I was like, Beatrice and Millennium? That's really weird. But either way, I'm sure they're about to do something broken, so I'm just going to activate Ash Blossom here. Yeah, I don't even want to wait for it. And I'm like, if they have more stuff in hand, whatever, they have it. But they actually straight up concede here, which I thought was a little bit early, but to be fair, they did summon their Beatrice in defense mode, so maybe they just didn't have the ability to go for lethal. I mean, even if they'd summoned it in attack mode, Beatrice plus sequence is still only, like, what, 3,700 damage, so they would still be a bit far off from lethal. They'd also have their own life points, and of course, also I have a million cards in hand. To be fair, though, I didn't draw any excessive hand traps off of Maxi. It was that one Ash Blossom that I opened with that I was able to stop them entirely with. So the Maxi did get us to the Engraver, if nothing else, was our first engine draw. But then, of course, also a million other live engine cards. So, all right. Got one more game to finish off with. Let's show off the last one here. And our final opponent is going to be another mirror match. So another game against Fiend, Smith, Azamina, Snake Eye. We are going to be going second yet again for this one here. And we open the Maxi, so it's not like we have nothing here. Going into their main phase one, they're going to lead with Diabellstar pitching Fuelos. Diabellstar F to set the Deception. Going to activate Deception. And they accidentally activated a Maxi. I'm very sure they meant to discard it here. This is a mistake I have definitely made before, as they're going to, tribute another Maxi from hand in order to add the Hallowed Azamina. So when they activate Hallowed Azamina, this is when I use Maxi. So I wanted to pause here because this really highlights, I really wanted to highlight the reason why I don't think it's going to shotgun Maxi that nobody ever acknowledges, which is, if I had Maxi during the draw phase, my opponent had just stopped, sure, it would have been essentially a turn skip. But there's still the chance that they could have used their own hand traps to stop me on my turn and then had follow-up plays. However, by Maxiing someone in a position like this, you've now put them in a really awkward spot where they either have to, like, commit to going full combo on turn one, which will almost assuredly end horribly for them, or having to stop. Now, you might say, well, okay, but if you shotgun Maxi during the draw phase, they stop anyway. What's the difference? This is the difference. The difference is stopping them when they have, like, one card in hand and they've used up all of their starters that are in that hand, right? I see so many people say, like, whoa, it's a turn skip anyway, so what does it matter? This is what it matters. Nobody ever acknowledges this point, but I'm here to say this is honestly the main reason why I don't think shotgunning Maxi is that good. If you're gonna turn skip them either way, turn skip them when they have no resources left, as opposed to a hand, like a grip of resources. It makes enough difference enough for the time. Not here, because they have call by anyway, but I still really wanted to highlight that, because if my opponent's last card wasn't exactly called by, or it could have been Crossout or Ash Blossom to be fair, then yeah, they would have been left on, they probably would have gone to Ilya Sylvia, but Ilya Sylvia plus one card in hand into my full hand is much better of a position to be in than, you know, them having a full hand. Especially, this is doubly true in a format that we're in right now, where your opponent will likely be sending off hand traps with stuff like Deception and Diabellstar. That makes it like 3 times more relevant to not draw phase max see them. So that's my, this is me saying like, hey, don't do that, and this is a clear-cut reason why. Alright, now from here I want to really pay attention to my opponent's line. Oh, OSS was their... Okay, so wait, they added OSS off Mubrishalaga, right? So I normally go into IP here, but they went into Moon of the Closed Heaven. So normally I would just be normal summoning Snake Eye Ash here. I want to pay attention to how they do their line, because they do it really, really well. Okay, so then Requiem into Engraver. Requiem F, then normal summon Snake Eye Ash. That's where they're getting their extra material. Because my opponent's going to end on 3-mat Apo, Desiree, Ilya Sylvia, Flamberge, IP. Yes, they're adding Dramatic Snake Eye Chase, but that's not gonna, they're not going to do anything with this Diabellstar. It's not relevant for their line. I was trying to figure out where they got the extra body to end, because normally people end on 2-mat Apo, plus Desiree, plus IP, plus Flamberge. My line that I showed off in my combo guide opts for ending on a 3-mat Apo, but then High King Caesar instead of Desiree. However, if you can end on 3-mat Apo Desiree, that's probably just optimal. So this is how they did it. They went into Moon of Closed Heaven instead of IP, putting Requiem in the spell trap. I understand now. I understand. I see the line. But they didn't do Temple here. Wait, they did all this and they didn't even use Temple? That's actually mind-blowing. Yeah, look at that. Because their IP is still in play. Most people would have, myself included, would have used the IP by now. And then now you can Desiree on the Flamber, or on the Promethean Princess, and now go into 3-mat Apo. They did that without playing Temple or Snake Eye Diabellstar. And here's the Diabellstar they placed off Dramatic Snake Eye Chase. So again, that was not relevant to ending on this board. This is actually the main reason why I wanted to show this game, because I think my opponent highlighted a very, very good line here. And again, didn't even need the field spell. So I honestly might like go back over this replay in my own time and really dissect it, because I think there's an optimized turn 1 end board here that minimizes the number of bricky cards you have to play in your deck. So shout out to this opponent for finding that here. Again, they had Dramatic Snake Eye Chase, but again, that also just didn't end up mattering here. The summon effect during the end phase, they could have just summoned off Flamberge, and again, here's the Diabellstar they play still not doing anything. Yeah, no, my hand here is like fine in, you know, if I'd gone first, but for, you know, playing into my opponent's board here, I'm obviously not able to do so very well, so I'm going to kind of just pointlessly struggle against them for a little bit before ultimately conceding. Yeah, I definitely want to dissect my opponent's line here. I thought they did very, very well, so... And I mean, hey, this is a video about Fiendsmith, Azamina, Snake Eye. If my opponent's the one doing superb things with it, that is not something I am opposed to showing. I'm just gonna throw this in fast forward, because they use their disruption efficiently, and they don't even need to here to be able to stop me from doing stuff. And there's Poplar, and there's OSS, and then now I'm out of things to do. So now is when I'm gonna concede. Alright, that is gonna do it for this video. Thank you so very much, folks, for watching. Super appreciate you. And as always, I really, really appreciate those who are watching right now at the very end of the video. A hugely helpful way to support the channel, so really want to thank you for that. But that's going to do it for this one. Let us move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.